What if the monsters chasing you weren't monsters at all? What if every twitching nurse, every suffocating mannequin, every pyramid-headed executioner was just your guilt wearing skin? Today we're diving into the nightmare fuel that is Silent Hill 2, a game where the true final boss isn't a demon, it's trauma. Turn the lights down, lock your doors, and if you hear metal scraping in the hallway, that's probably just Pyramid Head. Probably. What makes Silent Hill 2 legendary isn't just the fog, the soundtrack, or the depression simulator vibes, it's the monsters. Unlike most horror games, where monsters are just evil things that want to bite you, Silent Hill 2's creatures are deeply personal. They are psychological manifestations tied directly to our protagonist, James Sunderland. These aren't random zombies, these are therapy bills with legs. Let's break down what each monster actually represents and why they are way scarier once you understand them. The first major monster you meet is the lying figure. You know, the one that looks like a person wrapped in a fleshly straitjacket wobbling around like it forgot how knees work. This thing spits acid at you, because of course it does. Symbolically, the lying figure represents James' suffocating guilt. The creature is literally trapped inside a tight, fleshy shell, much like James is trapped inside his denial. And here's the kicker, the acid spit. Acid burns, it corrodes, it destroys slowly, kind of like guilt. The lying figure is also interpreted as representing Mary's illness, trapped in a failing body, unable to move freely. It's miserable, it's slow, it's painful. So yeah, first monster game, and we're already emotionally spiraling. Welcome to Silent Hill. Ah yes, the mannequins. 2 sets of legs, no head, no arms, just vibes. If you played the game, you know these things hide around corners like they're waiting to yell, "Surprise trauma!" These monsters represent James' repressed sexual frustration. Let's not pretend we didn't notice the design. They're literally nothing but legs posed suggestively. After Mary became ill, their intimacy suffered. James struggled with feelings of desire, mixed with guilt and resentment. And Silent Hill said, "Oh, you are feeling complicated emotions? Cool, here's a walking pair of legs to attack you." It's funny until one of them jumps out of the closet and you drop your controller again. You can't talk about Silent Hill 2 monsters without mentioning the nurses, specifically the bubblehead nurses. Unlike traditional horror nurses, these aren't just creepy hospital staff. Their movements are unsteady, their heads twitch, they carry pipes like they're late for anger management. Symbolically, they represent James' memories of the hospital where Mary was treated, but distorted through frustration, exhaustion, and sexual repression. They wear revealing outfits. Their faces are obscured, their behavior is aggressive. It's James' warped perception of caregiving mixed with suppressed desire and anger. And the scariest part, you mostly encounter them in the hospital, because Silent Hill has no chill. Now we talk about him. The metal scrapping, the massive blade, the trauma mascot, Pyramid Head. Officially known as Red Pyramid Thing, Pyramid Head is the embodiment of James' need for punishment. He appears whenever James confronts truth. He punishes Maria, he executes monsters, he stalks James relentlessly. Why? Because James subconsciously believes he deserves to suffer. James killed Mary, and Pyramid Head exists to make sure he doesn't forget that. The design itself is inspired by historical executioners of Silent Hill. His oversized blade symbolizes overwhelming guilt, something James can't possibly lift on his own. And those scenes where Pyramid Head assaults the mannequins, uncomfortable, disturbing, intentional. They reflect James' internalized shame and violent sexual frustration. Pyramid Head is not just a villain, he is judgment, he is self-hatred. He is the physical manifestation of I deserve this. And when two Pyramid Heads appear near the end of the game and ultimately kill themselves, that's symbolic too. Once James accepts the truth, punishment is no longer needed. The executioners leave, but not before emotionally wrecking us. So next, let's talk about Flesh Lips. You fight them in the hospital. They hang from the ceiling in a metal frame and attack from above. Visually, they resemble a distorted feminine face trapped in a confined structure. Many interpretations suggest they represent Mary's bedridden state, helpless, suspended between life and death, but also James' resentment. The hospital room becomes the cage. Mary's illness became a prison, and in his darkest moments, James felt trapped too. It's messy, it's human, it's tragic, and Silent Hill turned it into a ceiling monster. Now, we need to talk about the most disturbing monster of the game, Abstract Daddy. This creature is tied to Angela. That was in the previous video. Go watch it if you want. But this creature is mostly tied to Angela, not James. Unlike most monsters, this one represents Angela's trauma from abuse. The design is difficult to look at. It resembles two figures fused into a bed-like frame. The monster visually represents sexual abuse and confinement. When James fights Abstract Daddy, he's witnessing Angela's personal nightmare, not his own, and this is important. Silent Hill doesn't create one-size-fits-all monsters. It creates personalized hell. Angela sees fire everywhere. James sees guilt and sexual frustration. And Eddie sees mockery and persecution. The town reflects your inner darkness, which means if we walked into Silent Hill, actually, let's not think about that. So speaking of Eddie, Eddie's monsters look different to him. We don't directly see his versions much, but we know Silent Hill manifested figures that mocked and ridiculed him, reflecting his history of being bullied. By the time we fight Eddie, he's fully consumed by paranoia. To him, everyone is laughing. Everyone deserves to die. Silent Hill didn't turn Eddie evil. It amplified what was already broken. Now, when we talk about Maria isn't technically a monster, but she is a manifestation. She looks like Mary, but more flirtatious, more idolized. She's James' what if. What if Mary hadn't been sick? What if she'd been carefree? What if he didn't feel trapped? Maria exists to tempt James into denial, and she repeatedly dies in front of him over and over and over. Because you can't replace reality with fantasy, Silent Hill will make sure you learn that lesson brutally. So why does Silent Hill 2's monsters still work? Most horror games throw monsters at you. Silent Hill 2 throws yourself at you. That's why these creatures still haunt players decades later. Because they are not random, they are not personal, they are not symbolic, they are uncomfortable. And worst of all, they make sense. The true horror of Silent Hill 2 isn't the fog, it's realization. When the monsters stop being scary creatures and start being mirrors. So the next time you replay Silent Hill 2 and hear that static buzzing from your radio, ask yourself, is something out there or is something in here? If you enjoyed this deep dive into psychological horror of Silent Hill 2, hit that like button like it's a lying figure in a narrow hallway, and subscribe unless you want Pyramid Head dragging a giant knife down your hallway at 3 a.m. I'll see you guys in the fog. Zaldin out.